We're going to visit with Mr. and Mrs. Joe Adams of Houston. They have been here in Muleshoe celebrating Joe's father's 97th birthday. And they stopped by our home just before they're flying back to Houston. Just a little bit bigger town than Muleshoe, isn't it, Joe?
Oh, not that really. Not that big. Depending on your neighborhood, you know.
Right. The traffic, though, was a little bit worse than in Muleshoe. And they have put together something that is most unusual, not for JK's 97th birthday, but grandchildren change your life, don't they, Gail?
They certainly do.
For the better.
For the better. They are just optimistic about everything.
And how many grandchildren do you have, Gail?
We have two little girls, Jordan, who is 3, and Emma Grace, who is 7 months. And she is a character already.
And so, Joe, how did you come up with designing this toy for your grandchildren? And what does it consist of?
Well, during some hot summer months, the Gatorade bottles, which is what these are, were
Gatorade bottle. Without
the Gatorade, were piling up in the corner. And I said to myself, well, we ought to be able to do something with these things. And the whole idea of recycling, the idea of greening the environment, our architecture, my wife and I are architects, and we try to bring as many green elements into our work, solar collectors, natural rainwater collection. So I just saw this pile of things ready for the landfill and said, we have to do something with this. So I started thinking about joining the caps of these in a close packing arrangement whereby we could join all of these various sizes of these bottles, large, medium, small, into one organism that had some colorfulness to it and had some way of thrilling a young child with color. And most of all, at the end of the day, it is a toy that can be played with in water. Our children live in California. They go to the beach. So something that could be played with in the surf, something that could be played with in a swimming pool as they're learning to swim. You know, go swim to the brightly colored water. We call it a water bug toy. So I can assemble this if you're interested in seeing how it goes together.
Gail, were you in on this?
Not really. I was just sitting back amazed the whole time. Thinking, what on earth are you doing and why are you drinking so much Gatorade?
And are these even little Gatorade bottles?
Yeah, those. This is all comes from.
And now, wait just a minute. We gotta put it together.
Oh yes.
So that where did you get these little pump bottles?
There are various
what are they called?
hobby stores around town, the Hobby Lobby,
sure.
And they produce all kinds of brightly colored cotton balls and little rubber balls.
I saw a pig in this.
Yes, my oldest granddaughter is mad keen about horses. I think it's her Texas genes, even though she lives in California. It's her Texas genes coming to the fore. Oh, and here's a horse right here. So it's going to tickle her fancy when she opens the package from Texas, and she sees these brightly colored bottles, and then she sees a little horse embedded inside, and that really gets her excited. But I'm going to put this together now as...
You had to... Did you not even stuff any of the bottles, Gail?
No, we just had long discussions about the proper color relationship and the textures and what... In fact, it's not reached a total conclusion. In fact, it's kind of expanding what things you could put in the bottles and then what bottles you could use. We've kind of, Joe has mastered the connection of the joint for the Gatorade caps.
Now, Joe, in that center down in there, is there any saying like elastic or string? Or,
Well, these smaller bottles have to be, I discovered in the design process, they have to be flexible to receive the major, the major armature. But when it's all together, it's fairly intact.
Just a minute. The little bottles have these bracelets, aren't they?
They're bracelets. They look like worms.
Yeah.
I'm pretty convinced that if you hear in a few years that there's some new invasive species coming into our rivers and streams, it will actually be these Gatorade bottles belching little worms out that are glowing on the bottom.
I hope
but
not. We're supposed to be cleaning up.
We're supposed to be cleaning up, but I don't think they'll do any damage.
Now,
these are kind of iridescent. I like these glow at night.
So you made 2 or 1 for your granddaughter?
I made about 6 for my granddaughters and sent them in various packages. I know young children like to get a package in the mail, and they like to rip open the. So when this comes through the mail, of course, all assembled. And they get all the packing off of it. There it sits as this brightly colored thing, and they can delve into the inside of it, and it's a beautiful thing to look at. But not only that, but it's our youngest daughter uses it as something to leap over or do. She does barrel races in the living room on her hobby horse around these things. So but it's primarily for the water, and I can't wait to see them as they learn to swim to this as it's floating out in a pool or somewhere in the surf. I can see this dancing around in the surf in California,
and I can see the surf carrying it off too.
Then we'll just have to drink some more Gatorade.
You will.
To think about this, you have to become a child again in your head, and you have to think about what is it like to be a child and to be innocent of heart. And of course, my lesson about recycling is probably lost on a 3-year-old, but maybe their parents. So I charge their parents now to save their Gatorade bottles. But we're instructed that to reach the kingdom of God, you have to become like a child again. So that is so hard, I've found, for us adults to do that. But I've also found, as I'm sure grandparents do, that their grandchildren help them in that difficult process of becoming like a child again, thinking like a child again.
Well, you want to, because they're so happy, so innocent. They're, everything is new every day.
Right.
And what they're discovering.
I think that I can, my goal is to make them a Christmas toy each year, as long as they'll accept these kind of goofy toys from Grandpa.
I don't think it's goofy. I love it. I mean, it's bright. We need a name for it. Don't you think, Gail?
Well, we've called it a water bug. We've called it an explosion. We've called it a whatchamacallit, and we're still thinking.
Well, if you have an idea, call us and let us know what your idea that Gail and Joe should name it.
Atomic explosion. So we have procured this name from television, the Big Bang theory. So this is the Big Bang floating water bug toy.
Well, I think something else. You were talking about becoming as a little child, and senior citizens are becoming more and more as they live longer and longer, like little children.
Absolutely.
And I think that this would be wonderful for any senior citizen. I mean, just sitting there, how can you be sad and lonely looking at that concoction?
Well, since we no longer have children at home, in the process of doing this, I borrowed some of my younger friends' children as experiments, just toss it in the living room and see what they do. So I frankly brought this up to visit with my parents because I wanted to see
what they thought,
what they would do as well.
Did they like it, or were they interested?
Oh, my father, who was 97 this past Sunday, he stared at it for hours and was fascinated with the colors. And he was surprised at how light it was, light of heart and actual heaviness. But I think it passed the test. And
well, now, are you going to mass produce them?
I have a real job. I mean, so I don't think I'm going to leave my day job for this. But who knows? It may spawn another idea for next Christmas's gift. You
don't have any ideas for next Christmas?
It will come when it comes.
Yeah, you have to just wait.
Inspiration is a gift of God. You have to wait.
Especially, I think, in the middle of the night.
In the wee hours of the morning, yes. Or in the shower, or, any other place where your mind is at ease and what I've heard called when you're in your alpha state, that kind of beginning state in the morning, ideas come a lot then.
Now, the two granddaughters belong to whom?
My oldest daughter, Kate, and her husband live in Los Angeles.
And what is their last name?
Carlson. Jonathan and Kate Carlson, and their daughters are Emma Grace Carlson and Jordan Eleanor Carlson. So.
And what have the parents said about the toy?
They said that Jordan really would like to deconstruct it. because of what's hidden inside, that hidden treasure kind of thing. But it's of course winter in Los Angeles too. But I'm hoping that as soon as she gets out into the water, as summer comes on, that she will delight in its buoyancy and how light and it floats.
Now, let's see a picture of them on the beach so we can sort of envision how these two little girls, what they look like, and just hold it there real still.
Of course, this is a wintertime in California shot, but that's the Pacific Ocean out there in the distance, and they're playing in the sand. And they have their winter clothes on. They're not in their summer outfits, but the beach is very, very close at hand where they live. And I have three daughters myself, and now three grandchildren. So two girl grandchildren. So I say that I'm inundated with women here, and I'm hoping this is a androgynous toy, that it doesn't have boys or girl characteristic to it.
No, so it doesn't. I don't think. Do you, Gail?
I don't think so. No, I liked the caption that came with this picture to us. My daughter had written it as if Emma was talking. Of course, Emma doesn't talk, but it said, "Jordan and I built a house on the beach. It may just look like a shallow hole to sit in to you, but let me tell you, the location is terrific."
How darling a caption. Well, and there's some more of the two little girls that have grandparents who created an explosion for them. Thank you so much, Joe and Gail Adams of Houston, for sharing how you put together a unique toy for your two little granddaughters.
Well, when we do architecture, it's about serious things like structure and air conditioning and so on. But at the end of the day, the object is joy as well. So through all the construction and all the bolting and all the jointing, if the end product doesn't bring joy, it's all of the technical stuff has been for naught, because you're supposed to delight in your surroundings.
Well, I can tell it would bring joy to any child, and really to senior citizens too. Well, to anybody.
I hope so. We've had a lot of positive feedback, and I think that we may consider a marketing approach, but that's not our strong point, is marketing. Thank you for having us. And by the way, everyone in Muleshoe who helped my father celebrate his 97th birthday on Sunday, thank you for that. It lifted his heart, and he was so amazed that 60 people would show up on a miscellaneous Sunday afternoon to see J.K. Adams. He was just totally astounded that happened.